Henry Ford, the man who thought differently. When people think of Henry Ford, they often picture the Model T assembly lines, the explosion of the American automobile industry. But Ford was more than a manufacturer. He was a man who reshaped the way the world moved, literally and mentally. According to Napoleon Hill, Ford wasn't successful because of luck or education. He succeeded because of vision, belief, and relentless focus. His story teaches us that you don't need approval from the world to change it. You just need to believe in your idea when no one else does. Born in 1863 on a farm in Michigan, Henry Ford had a deep curiosity for how things worked. While other boys played with tools, he took apart watches and rebuilt them. But there was one thing he hated: farming. Not because he was lazy, but because he believed human hands were made for more than repetitive labor. Machines, he thought, should do the work so people could think, create, and live better lives. At age 16, Ford left home and walked miles to Detroit to find a job as a machinist. He didn't go to college, he didn't come from money, but he had the one asset Napoleon Hill said was most valuable: a definite major purpose. He wanted to build machines that would liberate people. That desire burned so strongly inside him that no failure could extinguish it. Ford worked tirelessly day jobs, night experiments. He failed repeatedly. His first car project failed. His investors gave up on him. His second attempt failed too. People laughed at his obsession with horseless carriages. Experts said cars were toys for the rich and would never replace horses. But Ford kept going. He wasn't building a luxury. He was building a revolution. Then came the breakthrough. In 1908, he launched the Model T. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't expensive. But it worked and it was reliable. Most importantly, it was priced for the common worker, not the elite. Ford believed every person should afford the very product they built. So he created a factory that produced cars quickly and efficiently. He didn't invent the assembly line, but he perfected it. With it, production time dropped dramatically, and the cost of each car fell. By the 1920s, over 50% of the cars in the world were Fords. But Ford's real innovation wasn't mechanical, it was mental. He challenged every assumption of his time. He raised worker salaries to $5 a day, doubled the industry standard. Critics said he'd go bankrupt. Instead, his workers became his customers. Productivity soared, loyalty grew. And he proved that treating workers fairly wasn't just moral lit, was smart business. Still, Ford wasn't free from criticism. He was stubborn. He refused to update the Model T even as competitors caught up. He tried to control every aspect of his company and life. Some of his personal views and associations were controversial and rightfully criticized. But as Napoleon Hill pointed out, success is never about perfection. It's about purpose. And Ford's purpose to empower people through mobility ever wavered. What set Henry Ford apart, Hill emphasized, was not just his ideas, but his belief in those ideas despite the world's resistance. He once said, "If you think you can or think you can't, you're right." That wasn't just a motivational quote. It was the foundation of his success. Ford believed that the mind, when focused on a clear objective, becomes unstoppable. That faith in himself became a magnet for the right people, the right resources, and the right timing. Even when he had no money, no support, and no reputation, Ford moved forward. He didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. He didn't wait for validation. He acted. That's why Napoleon Hill chose him as one of the greatest examples of definiteness of purpose and applied faith in his studies. Ford once took on a legal battle where lawyers tried to humiliate him by asking trivia questions, hoping to prove he was uneducated. Calmly, Ford replied, "If I need to answer questions like these, I have a row of buttons on my desk. I can push one and summon a man who can give me the answer." He didn't need to know everything. He needed to know how to organize intelligence. That was real power. Henry Ford's success wasn't about being the smartest man in the room. It was about being the one with the clearest vision and the strongest will. He didn't just build a company. He built a belief that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they refuse to quit. Today, we live in a world of startups, innovation, and digital revolutions. But the core principles that made Ford successful are still true. Know what you want, believe in it, work for it, adjust when necessary, and never let doubt stop your motion.